no. One organ that you need to detoxify every single day of the week is actually the liver. Did you know that? And there are several ways that we can naturally support the liver in its detoxification process. In this video, I'm share with you some unexpected items that are in your daily multivitamin that are very toxic to the liver and all the other organs and glands in your body. So if you're ready for the truth, stay tuned. I'll see you in just 1 second. Hi, Dr. Berg. Online. You know, I have a passion to try to help people auto-regulate their health. In other words, teaching you how to fix the root causes of your health problems so you could heal your own body. Now today we're going to talk about something very, very interesting. We're going to talk about some hidden items in your daily multivitamins that could be causing liver damage. Now let's first define what is liver damage. Well, it's really fatty liver, okay? What happens is you consume toxins, whatever it might be, certain medications or even certain vitamins and minerals, but they get stored in your liver because your liver is the main organ that filters and detoxifies these poisons from your body. But if you keep bombarding your liver with more and more toxins, guess what? Your liver becomes overloaded and it starts creating scar tissue and fibrosis. And eventually you develop cirrhosis of the liver, and you have about 4 or 5 different stages of a fatty liver. Then you develop into having a cirrhosis of the liver, which you only have about 2 or 3 stages. So as you can see, it's a lot more serious. So the topic of this video is talking about the toxicity of certain ingredients that are in your multivitamin that can create liver damage. Let's go through the list. All right, number 1, let's start with iron. Many people take iron supplements for anemia, low iron, and they don't realize that too much iron creates a lot of health problems, including diabetes, heart attacks, liver disease, arthritis. But here's the problem with iron. When you consume too much iron, your body has no way of getting rid of it. It's very difficult to urinate out. So where does it go? It goes into your liver, and it starts creating damage and problems. So if you're taking any type of iron supplement, you want to avoid it. If you already have a fatty liver, or you have insulin resistance, or you're pre-diabetic, or you have a family history of a fatty liver, cirrhosis of the liver, liver cancer, etc., you should probably not be taking iron because you could be at risk of creating more damage to your liver. If you don't have enough iron, you can always get it from your food. There's lots of sources of iron. All right, number 2, calcium. Calcium, most people think, oh, calcium's good for you. Calcium's good for your bones. But too much calcium is actually bad for you. Guess, 75% of the calcium that you consume comes in the form of oxalates, which will bind to calcium and make it unavailable for your body to absorb. So calcium tends to settle out in the joints as well as in the arteries and also in the kidney and the bladder as stones. So you may be consuming calcium from your diet or calcium from your supplements, and you do and realize that too much calcium is causing problems. In fact, 80% of the population in the US are calcium deficient. So why would too much calcium be bad? Well, if you have a fatty liver, you're at risk for developing cirrhosis of the liver. So if you're taking calcium, especially antacids for heartburn, which a lot of people do, and you're also consuming dairy products, which are loaded with calcium, you can develop a high amount of calcium in your liver and create more damage to your liver. So if you have a fatty liver, or a history of fatty liver, or you're pre-diabetic, or you have insulin resistance, I would recommend staying away from any type of calcium supplementation as well as loading up on dairy products. All right, 3, vitamin A now. Vitamin A is good for your eyes. It's good for your skin. It's good for a lot of things. But when you consume too much vitamin A, guess what? You're going to store that in your liver, and that can create a problem. That can create liver damage, especially if you already have pre-existing liver damage or you have a history of that. And so you want to be careful with the amount of vitamin A that you consume. You can always get vitamin A from your food. You just have to be careful about the following. Certain liver diseases require larger amounts of vitamin A to overcome that. But you want to make sure that you get it from the food source rather than a supplement. All right, number 4. Here's an interesting one. Herb and botanicals. Okay. Some of the herbs and botanicals that you may consume in teas or supplements can create liver damage. And so if you're trying to do liver cleanses or you're doing teas, okay, you're drinking a lot of herbal teas. You want to be very careful with this because not all herbs are created equal. In fact, some of them can cause a huge problem, especially with your liver. And so the recommendation would be to make sure you consult with your doctor before you do any liver cleanse, okay? Or consume a lot of botanicals and herbs. All right, no. 5. Alcohol. Yes, alcohol is poison. It's a toxin. Some people drink a little bit of wine with dinner and they think, oh, that's good for me. You know, red wine is good for the heart. That may be true, but when you drink too much alcohol, guess what? You're going to overload your liver and create a fatty liver. Also, alcohol tends to create inflammation in the pancreas, and a lot of people don't realize that. And then also it affects your brain. It affects your nervous system. It's a depressant. And so alcohol is definitely a toxin that you don't want to consume on a regular basis. All right, number 6, acetaminophen, Tylenol. Okay, many people take Tylenol or acetaminophen for pain and for fever. That's probably the one over-the-counter medication that is consumed. But when you take too much acetaminophen or Tylenol, guess what? You're going to end up with a fatty liver. So you want to be very careful of the amount of acetaminophen or Tylenol that you consume. You want to make sure that you read the labels on all the different medications that you're retaking and see how much acetaminophen is in those medications. Because some of the cold medicines and flu medicine and allergy medicine have acetaminophen in them. And so if you're taking multiple medications, you might be overloading your liver with acetaminophen and not realize it. So just read the label. Now, there's lots of alternative natural pain relievers. All right? No. 7. Certain antibiotics. Now, when you take antibiotics, you kill off bacteria, but you also kill off your probiotics. Okay. You kill off the good bacteria, and so when that happens, you create a situation where now you're at risk for getting candida and yeast infections and other types of unfriendly microbes that now become pathogenic and harmful to you. And so you want to be very careful with the overuse and the misuse of antibiotics. If you have a bacterial infection, it's important to take an antibiotic, but you want to make sure that you take a probiotic at the same time, because that will protect you from getting all these other issues. All right, so there you have it, the 7 toxins that are either found in your multivitamin or they're found in the liver itself. Now, if you haven't seen my video on the top 7 immune-boosting foods, I put that video right here. Check it out.